Dill, you're a funny pickle, young and ardent and not yet steeped with adult time, often saying what is and what isn't, what's true and valid. Good thing we all have YouTube so that we can look back on these events. Good thing that we have YouTube. Good thing. Good thing in this sentence is not referring to YouTube, but referring to a fact or an idea. More like saying, it's a good fact that we have YouTube, or it's good that we have YouTube. But I'm being superfluous in adding good or good fact or adding thing to good. But the statement made sense nonetheless, and it holds meaning. It's a good thing is not referencing anything that exists. So to get on the same page, since you're a stickler for defining terms, you would call this thing an abstract concept. Hence, good thing in this context is immaterial, right? Good thing is not a thing at all. And if we are going to employ the word exists here, then we can say good thing exists because I stated it, but it relies on no physics and hence immaterial by your definition. But we would only shine an immaterial light on this use from a philosophical viewpoint. I say this because good thing can be reduced simply as an article of discourse, which points to nothing of science, like your vacuum or any ideal. We can't develop a hypothesis about what good thing might be, so no scientific method nor testing could follow. This is a linguistic issue. To wax semantics, Dill, you say outrightly that a vacuum in its ideal sense is not testable, and since you're an empirical person, can't know it. So vacuum, the word, doesn't make any sense to us, or at least it shouldn't, and this doesn't follow. This is absurd. This is your naiveness. When I commented on science is rooted in empiricism, it is because that is the arena from which it is played, that is which it is testable. When I say that philosophy is rooted in language, it is because the history of philosophy yielded to current language considerations. These considerations include epistemic, ontological, mythos, gnosis, logos, metaphysical, patternings, and the deconstruction and a reconstruction of these patterns. To say that a word vacuum should lose its meaning because we can't test it is as absurd as saying that the mythical object Excalibur, which within its fiction still has properties upon being broken. And upon being broken, it would cease to be Excalibur any longer, and hence would have no meaning nor reference. Yet it does have meaning as much as you've followed this monologue, and I bet Excalibur will have meaning after this video is complete. The word won't cease to exist and disappear in a puff of logic. As's video is simply playing with your words concerning ideal vacuum and suitably analogous patterns, trying to show your immaterial claims to only be as far-reaching as science vernacular allows. His video makes demonstrative that your words, Dill, are not well steeped in the canons of philosophy and are not relevant to material discussion. This, of course, doesn't make your logic abilities any worse for the wear. In ongoing comments in your previous video, you say that if a stratrac is defined as not material, that which is immaterial is stratrac's subgenre subgroup. Since stratrac is text and or text function in computer model programs or the consequent model, that seems to follow. I'll agree with you. Text, whether it's a good thing or stratrac, can have expression, and I agree that this expression is immaterial. But Dill, you claim materialism by which to basically define yourself. Yet you outwardly define that which you accept as immaterial, which you outwardly denied in your response to Callan. So why claim yourself to one over another in the first place, unless you're just perhaps trying to convey that science and empirical materialistic perspectives and discourse are of your liking, habit, and tendency, that's fine. That is how I read you. And this is how I read you. A young college student inclined to regurgitate scientific ideas more so than others. I don't think that you don't make sense with what you're often saying. I just think that you haphazardly move through it using superfluous qualifying words like decent definition. And you wane on what is and what's valid and what's true and what's knowable. This is common for people your age and your level of education. You may be unique in your optics, but you're still just a common snowflake. And you regard your audience as idiots, as inept, not qualifying, and most absurdly in competition to take a victory, as if there were trophies or an Excalibur sword being handed out. Granted, your audience is audacious and bold at times, but you defend more often against offense taken than offense given. Now, when you rant and you rave and you start talking about truth and validity, what's the case and what must be the case, and you move outside of science jargon, which is your strong hand, by the way, you simultaneously abuse and fuck up the canon of philosophy, which of course stirs up a lot of consternation with us insignificant linguists. And that is why I chimed in. You seem like a person whom I'd like to impart this. Speaking about your Schrodinger's vacuum issue, from my paltry scientific perspective, I would say that one could shine a light into a vacuum until they were assured that all that was tending through the vacuum were but photons. Then remove such light and continue with the experiment, decreeing it a vacuum. I say this because scientists who test more plausible day-to-day physical things here on Earth and not at the summit of some black hole with a flashlight trust that during that testing, that when they blink, the experiment is somehow not at a loss because they didn't observe that slice of time. Anyway, it's been a real pleasure leaving you this video, and perhaps on the next video I will discuss the breakdown of 3D models and the notion of metaphysics, or the idea of modeling or imaging the idea in one head, for your apologist epistemic duty.